Okay, let's begin lying on our backs in Shavasana. Noticing all the points of contact between body and floor. Comparing two sides. Maybe one calf is more connected to the floor than the other. One hip feels heavier than the other. Maybe you feel symmetrical. But just kind of scanning here from the heels all the way up to the back of the head. Notice the touch of air on your skin. Sounds your ears are receiving. Tidal rhythm of your breathing. Notice any places you're holding or contracting. So since we're just lying here fully supported, the invitation is to let those go as that's available. So maybe in the pelvic floor, the jaw, the forehead, the hands, the belly. Letting what's non-essential fall away. Beginning our movement inquiry with our first spinal undulation, planting your feet about hip width apart. Arms can come into this cactus shape or out to a T. With your exhalation, root through the lower spine, press, lower back into the floor. As you inhale, rock toward your tailbone. It's a little back bend. We're making this space between the lower spine and the floor, and the hips are staying down. Following your breath, you can draw the whole abdominal wall back toward the floor when you exhale. So not just spine down, but abdominals down. And then allowing the belly to soften and receive the inhale. If you ever run into pinchiness or pain, make the movement smaller and make the movement slower so you're not reaffirming that pain. Just about one more time here. And then gradually allow your spine to come back to neutral, pelvis neutral. Interlace your hands underneath your head at the base of your skull. Feet are still planted. For our side bend, we call the side scrub. So we take a side bend, go over to the right first, the left elbow slides to point more overhead. The right elbow slides to point more toward the right hip, that direction. And then sliding through center, try to keep the head heavy. The hands are definitely staying on the ground, and the arms might be sliding along the floor as well. So we're not lifting at all here. Let's try to do the movement on the inhale, breathing in to the space you're creating between the rib bones and between the ribs, the whole rib cage and the hip. Exhaling for your transition through center. Feel free to pause a little longer, a little linger in the side bend. And let's add a little turn of the head and or the eyeballs to look toward the overhead reaching elbow. After your second side, come back to center. Feet are still planted. Hands are still interlaced right at the base of the skull. With your inhalation, find your little back arch, your little back bend, and now also press the arm bones down into the ground. Exhaling, press the lower spine into the floor, lift your head, bring your elbows together and toward the knees. Inhaling, head comes down, elbows root, make that gap between lower spine and the floor. Exhaling, engage the abdominals, lift the head, squeeze the elbows together. So really peel the shoulder blades up off the ground. Following your rhythm. Really feel this as a tilt of the pelvis forward and back. A couple more times. The next time you lower down, release all together into Shavasana. So you can minimize like adjusting your clothes or aligning your body. Just slide the legs straight, bring your arms down by your sides, and then notice how your body lands when you're not manipulating it. Let's plant the left foot and take left arm out to a T. You're going to want to make sure you can straighten your arm overhead without running into anything. So if there's room in your setup, adjust if you need to. The arm's heavy here. The left shoulder stays down. Rock to the inner edge of the left foot to bring the knee over to the right across the midline. And then back to center, the foot plants, the knee points up. So it's not just an across directly to the right, it's a reach toward the far corner of your mat or toward your right foot. At least that's the way I like to practice it. Let's actually have both arms in cactus, or if you want just one arm in cactus, it's the right arm. So the left leg is doing the unwinding, the right arm is in cactus. Arms are still just heavy for now. So you could just be kind of soft and easy with this left leg, left hip, or you can make it more active, pushing inner edge of the foot into the ground, really lifting this left hip and squeezing your left glute to help open the front of the hip and find your end range. Left shoulder stays down. We're going to add a little slide of the right arm. So the right arm is in cactus. As you bring the left knee over, slide the right arm straight alongside the ear. Or if you get shoulder pain, take the arm wider so you're reaching more the diagonal. The arm is heavy on the ground, relatively heavy. Try to maintain that contact with the floor and just slide the arm to straighten rather than lifting. Arm slides back to cactus as the leg comes back to the starting position. Couple more times. At the end of that one, just gonna go right to the second side. So right foot planted, left leg straight. Both arms can be in cactus, or we're trying for left arm in cactus. Just the leg first, rocking to the inner edge of the foot. So the knee comes over to the left, but also try reaching it toward your left foot. So it's across and away, flowing in and out. Push dig the inner edge of the foot into the ground and squeeze right glute as you do. You might notice that one glute or one side of your buttocks is a little more reluctant to engage. Isn't that interesting? And then whenever you feel inclined, adding our slide of the left arm, can go straight back to the wall behind you, or it can go out a bit wider. So we don't want to go into pinchiness. Just finding moderate sensation. Really embody the movement. Notice what you're feeling. Notice where you're feeling it. Notice how this side differs from the other side. We're not trying to analyze or judge or label or figure anything out, really. We're just becoming more aware, more present. Last couple times, if you're really having a hard time squeezing the glute, you can tap it with your right hand. So just that kind of tactile connection can help create the engagement. Particularly if you sit a lot, really important to work on strengthening the back body. I mean, really for everybody. And then once you're back to center, slide the leg out straight and bring your arms out to a T now. They could stay in cactus if you'd rather. Feel your breath in your body. Maybe breath has changed. Working with gravity, keeping the feet on the ground. Slide both knees toward one elbow. So the knees bend, bringing the knees toward the elbow. You don't need to get the knees all the way there. And then slide the leg out straight. So what's going to limit that potentially, the knees getting to the elbow? Well, just your mobility in general, but keep the shoulders down. So you could get your knees up higher if you lifted the shoulder up, but let's not do that. Sliding the legs up, sliding the legs down. Feet stay on the ground. Opposite shoulder stays down. And then just next time you come into the twist, pause and breathe here. You can let the legs kind of drop down, so the top foot might not be on the ground. It could be stacked on top of the bottom foot. Check in again that the opposite shoulder is down. You can even actively press it down a little bit. If you wanted, you could use the hand that's nearby to gently nudge the leg down a little bit. See how it feels. Notice if the hip is kind of hitched up toward the ribs. You could try to move it away, kind of yawn open this space between the rib cage, and the hip. That might feel nice. It's a little more active. And then release the hand if it was helping. Slide the legs out straight. Same thing, other side. Just slide. So the knees go directly to the side rather than up toward the ceiling and then over to the side. And then when you find that moderate amount of sensation that you're in your comfort zone, just pause here. You could purposely press the shoulder down if it's a little reluctant. The hand that's nearby could add just a little pressure, so not pushing strongly. It's really more just like the weight of the hand, maybe plus a little bit. And then there might be some room to expand here between the side of the rib basket and the hip by moving, I just got a big release, moving the hip away from the ribs. So it's not a big movement, it's like we're just yawning this lower side, this waist open. Gradually slide the legs out straight again. We have one more element here. You're going to want to be able to straighten or straighter your legs out to the side, kind of out in front of you. Make sure you've got enough room. So we slide the knees toward the elbow, shoulder stays down, and then straighten the legs out in front of you. They might not get all the way straight. Let's flow a few times here. Bend the knees, slide the feet to the far edge of the mat. Take it to the other side. Feet heavy, legs heavy, knees toward the elbow. And then extending the legs straighter out in front of you. I'm not going to hold this one, but so we don't need to get the belt here, but if your feet happen to be right near your hand and you can just kind of hold over the tops of the toes, push into the hand, pull back with the hand, and then release. Allow your body to be where it is rather than forcing it to be where you want it to be or where you think it should be or where it used to be. Go about one more time each side. Sliding and gliding. And then after your second side, whenever that is for you, come back into the full release of Shavasana. Feet are wider than hips here. We're gonna windshield wiper feet. So the legs are straight, the legs are heavy, the legs are relaxed. Don't engage at all. Turn your toes in toward each other. I'd say if they're bumping into each other, take feet wider apart. We're not trying to hit the feet into each other. So toes in toward each other and then toes away from each other. Rock to inner heels, rock to outer heels. Once you get that basic movement, pick up the pace. Keep going, go fast, faster, fast as you comfortably can. And then eventually coming back to stillness. Plant your feet again, about hip width apart. Interlace your hands, the base of your skull. Inhale, root the arm bones, find your little back bend. And then exhale, knees and elbows toward each other. Follow your breath. Really land the feet at the same time. It might seem insignificant, but it's a way to train awareness and to notice asymmetries. So feet leave the floor at the same time, feet land at the same time. Same with the arms. Notice if one arm is dropping before the other. And don't force the symmetry, just notice the asymmetry, and if it's easy, fix it. Elbows really hugging in toward each other. Belly expanding with the inhale. Deep abdominal muscles drawing toward the floor with the exhale. That might feel a little different than just rooting through the lower back. Next few repetitions, just open up halfway. So the arms don't come down, the feet don't come down, just kind of open up and then close up again. Try that a couple more times. And then last variation here is our diagonal. So the feet can come all the way down, the arm bones press. Here's your chance to kind of expand and relax the belly. And then knees go one way, elbows go the other way. Inhaling to center. Make sure your hands haven't slid up. They're still at the base of the skull. And then exhale, knees go one way, elbows toward the outer hip. Even try kicking your feet or moving your feet. It's not really a kick, toward your elbows a little bit, deepening that side sensation. We're going slow here. It's not about pounding out repetitions. One more round. And then eventually coming back to Shavasana on your back. Notice what you notice. Okay, roll onto your left side and use the back edge of your mat as a guide to make sure that you're straight. There's no hip hinge. There's no forward head. So the sacrum lines up with the back edge of your mat and the back of your head lines up with the back edge of your mat. Bottom arm is a pillow. It's a good idea to actually like use your hand, feel the back edge of your mat, feel the back of the head, feel the sacrum rather than just kind of thinking that you're even. And then we're going to take the top arm and hold the top wrist in the bottom hand and stretch here through the legs, push through your heels so the hips are stacked, the head is heavy. The ribs, the front ribs are drawing toward the back body. And you can help stabilize if you feel a little wobbly. Squeeze your glutes. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Breathe. Breathe into the places where you feel resistance or darkness. Release the wrist. If you'd rather readjust your arm so it's bent or you're even propped up on your hand, you could do so. Sideline Virasana or hero's pose. So now we bend the top knee and bring the heel toward the sitting bone. You can use a belt if you can't reach your foot. Draw the heel toward the sitting bone, but then also press the foot back into the hand. So creating some resistance. That's it. Reaching the knee away from you. Maybe the knee's going further back behind you, but not because we're back bending. So notice if the front ribs popped forward and bring them in toward the back once again. Okay, gently, slowly, carefully release the foot. And that's our little side sequence. So rolling over onto your other side. Using the back edge of your mat as a guide. So feel the sacrum, feel the back edge of the mat down there, feel the back of your head and the back edge of the mat up there. Notice if you always have to move your head back when you do that. And then we'll take our side stretch here. Take hold of top wrist with bottom hand. Actively reaching through the legs. Feet are flexed, push through the heels. Front ribs drawing toward the back body. Could squeeze your buttock muscles, particularly if you're having a hard time staying balanced here on your side. Be with your breath. Release the wrist. Feel free to bend the bottom elbow or even prop your head up onto your hand. Side lying hero's pose. Bend your top leg, reach back for the foot. Heel toward the sitting bone. Draw the foot in and resist pushing the foot into the hand. Make sure hips are still stacked. Try reaching the knee away from you toward your bottom foot, basically. Maybe knee goes back behind you. Front ribs stay drawn in toward the back. Head is heavy. Slowly. It's important after a deep stretch not to release quickly, releasing, and then roll onto your belly. You can start with your hands stacked and your forehead resting on your hands. If you have a hard time kind of organizing your feet, you can let the heels splay out and the big toes touch. And just arriving here on your belly. Notice your breath. Okay, now we're going to stay on the tops of the feet, but make sure now the toes point straight back. And see if you can even spread your toes here and root a little bit more through, well, just evenly through the tops of the feet. Pressing them actively down. Squeeze your glutes. Really press the front of your pelvis into the ground. See if you can lift the belly away from the floor. And then we'll take hold of the elbows somewhere in front of the shoulders. How far forward is negotiable. Press the elbows down. So we're lifting to our back bend, our Sphinx variation. Really draw the shoulders down the back. So make tons of space between your earlobes and your shoulders. And then gently lowering down. As you lower down, bring your forehead down, stretch your arms forward, joining your hands in prayer. Breathe into the back. Okay, and then from here, we'll bend the elbows so fingers point up toward the ceiling. Walk the elbows back toward you. You can keep feet flat or tuck toes under. Bring your thumb tips to your inner eyebrows. So same engagement, all the same engagement we had before. Rooting through the tops of the feet or pressing through the heels. Squeezing the glutes. Pubic bone pressing down. You can try lifting the lower belly away from the floor a little bit more. Head relatively heavy. Shoulder blades depressing. So shoulder blades and shoulders themselves really moving down toward the waist. Let the elbows slide out to the side so you can stack your hands, bring your head down and rest. Maybe a little shimmy of the hips side to side. Okay, head can stay down. We're going to take one leg into Baddha Konasana. So the knee comes out to the side. The knee is bent out to the side. Inner edge of the knee is on the floor. And the foot is on the floor. Sole of the foot's kind of facing the straight leg. It doesn't have to connect to the straight leg. The foot doesn't move for this inquiry. Slide your knee toward you to hitch the hip up toward the ceiling. And then slide the knee away from you, just back to where it started. Going back and forth like you're drawing a groove in the floor with your inner knee. Okay, let's slide that leg out straight. And try on the other side. Knee is bent out to the side. It's like a tree pose shape, but you don't have to have your foot connected to your straight leg. And then slide the knee toward you. The foot doesn't move at all. The hip rises, the inner thigh leaves the floor. And then slide the knee back to where you started. So inner thigh gets closer to the floor. Back and forth. At the end of that one, sliding the leg straight back behind you. Let's tuck the toes under. Same activation here we've been working with. Energy through the legs, glutes engaged, pelvis rooting. Bring your hands to your elbows and walk them back a little bit so you can rise up into our back bend variation. Draw the lower belly away from the floor. Draw the shoulder blades down the back. You can stay right here or bend the knees so the feet are airborne. And then without doing a whole lot of movement of the feet, we're going to try to add a little internal rotation here. So legs are vertical, or the feet can kind of move away from each other a little bit. But let's see if we can focus on the outer hips rooting down into the ground. So like you're trying to lift your inner thighs away from the floor and bring your outer hips down to the floor. Like neither is gonna really happen. Well, inner thighs aren't on the floor anyway. Neither is really gonna happen, but that's the intention. So inner thighs up, outer hips down. Keep the shoulders down. It's easy to forget about that kind of slump. And then release the feet down and release all the way down onto your belly, prone shavasana. Breathe especially into your back. Slide your hands underneath your shoulders and make your way back into child's pose. Keep spreading your breath across your back. Let's rise up to all fours. And then we're going to bring basically the top of the head down to the ground. Your hands stay planted. So your hands can stay planted. So all the weight doesn't go into your head. And then we're just going to draw some little circles on the head. You can start small here. And then as it feels safe for you, gradually making the circles larger or just kind of exploring all the places where you can make contact of head to the floor. So it doesn't have to be a circle. Hands are taking some of the weight, knees are down. So a little bit of acupressure on the head and a little bit of movement for the neck. So this is not about a big technique, just explore a little bit here. And then we'll come back to center and come back into tabletop. So wrists are directly beneath the shoulders. Let's shy the knees in a little bit relative to the hips, rather than them being right beneath. So knees a little bit in, spread the fingers, dial the hands outward without them moving. So pretty much index fingers point forward. And then push the floor away completely. And then just soften a little bit between the shoulder blades. So we're going to just hold that alignment, that engagement through the hands, the shoulders, the arms. Lift one foot up, the knee is staying down. Swing the foot in. So kind of swiveling on the knee. And then swing the foot out. Make sure your head's in line with the rest of your spine, that you're not dropping it. You can go slow here. So you might want to like untuck your other toes so that when you swing in, the foot doesn't run into the leg, it clears the leg. So especially with the side you go to that's tighter, Probably it's out to the side. It's probably that internal rotation. Just kind of nudge the end range. So I'm not moving my hips. Hips are staying still, or as I should say, I'm not moving my pelvis. This is a rotation of the femur in the hip socket. Okay, bringing the leg back to center. Let's reaffirm this engagement through the hands into the floor. This engagement through the shoulders and slight softening in the chest, and then lift the foot so it clears the ground and that leg as you swing it in and then swing it out. So we're not wagging the tail, so to speak. The pelvis is staying centered. Going from internal to external rotation. Notice two sides might be very different. Two legs might be very different. Back skull is lifting up toward the ceiling. One more time. And then bringing the leg back in, tuck your toes under. Bring the knees as close together as you can, hips toward the heels, arms stretching forward in child's pose. So now it's more active child with the toes tucked under and the hands shoulder width apart or a little bit wider. You can grip the sides of your mat and pull the mat forward away from you and send the hips a little bit more toward the heels. Head can be down here. See if you can bring the outer shoulder blades down toward the ground a little bit more, so a little protraction. Okay, and then gradually release here. If you've got a blanket on your mat, take it off. If you're on your carpet, grab your mat. And we'll meet in downward facing dog. Hands are dialing outward. Push the floor away, really push the floor away. If you're rounding it all here, maybe in the shoulders or the upper back or the lower back, please bend your knees and focus more on this straight spine. Yeah, the spine's not straight, but this straight line of energy through the spine, basically. Drawing the belly in toward the back. Lower the knees down to the ground. If it's available, keep your toes tucked under and sit onto your heels. You could sit on your heels with toes untucked if this is just excruciating for you. Or you could sit on a block in Virasana, hero's pose. If you're sitting with your toes tucked under, make sure that all the toes are tucked and rooted. We want to be upright here, so find a different position if you can't be. And then we'll interlace the hands behind the back and keep a bit of a bend in the elbows. And you can lift the hands away from the back, but keep lifting your chest. Keep lifting your chest and just nod at the head to bring the chin down toward the chest. Slowly, gently release the arms, raise the head. Interlace your hands in front of you. Press the palms forward and then stretch your arms up toward the ceiling. Keep the front ribs down and let the shoulders rise up. Arms release down through this ocean of energy. Beautiful. Let's come back into downward facing dog. With bent knees. So everybody bending knees, even if you don't need to. Push the floor away. Bring your gaze a little forward between your hands without cranking your neck. Knees are bent, hips are high. Keep lifting from like the pit of your belly. And then straighten or straight or your legs some and let your head hang heavy. Lower your knees down to the ground. Let's grab a block. You may or may not need it. We're going to step the right foot forward into a lunge. We're in this short lunge we've been working a lot with lately, where the back knee is directly underneath the back hip. Okay. And then we're going to bring the left hand down to the ground or to the block. So if you have to shift, if your right hip lifts when you bring your left hand down, then that's what the block is for, everybody. So the hips can stay level. Okay, so you might just have to kind of like feel like, okay, I'm slowly bringing my hand down, like, oh, my right hip is coming up. So in which case, using the block. You can also walk the left hand a little bit more off to the left. See how that feels. And then kind of lean into the hand without lifting this hip. So it's like a little lean of weight rather than a shifting of alignment. Okay, we're dragging the front foot back. It's not moving. It's that into the ground drag back and squeezing left glute as much as you can. Left, right fingertips to right temple. Hips aren't moving as we twist to the right. And then unwind. Just to face the ground. Head's just going with the movement here. Opening up. Feel that rotation from your ribs, from your spine. Again. So the hips are really stable here. That's different than what a lot of us learned in yoga, myself included. One more time, we're going to stay open next time we open up. You can stay here, you can stretch the arm up, or bring the left elbow to the right quad and join the hands in prayer. Resist the urge to just like press in and crank into the twist. Recommit the back glute on, the front foot dragging back, the hips staying still, and then maybe rotating more through the ribs and spine. Unwind. Let's just step switch, so left foot is forward. The back knee is directly underneath the back hip. It's a short lunge. And then we're bringing the right hand down. So as you bring the hand down, notice if your left hip pops up, then I suggest you use the block. Okay, you can kind of press down into the right hand and drag this left foot back. Try to turn on right buttock, left fingertips to left temple. The twist comes from the spine, not the hips. So we're opening up and then unwinding to face the ground. A few more times, find your rhythm. The next time you open up, either stay right here or stretch the arm up or bring the right elbow to the left quad, join the hands in prayer, check in again, front foot dragging back, back buttock squeezing, hips are still, maybe adding rotation through the spine and the ribs. Unwind your spine, bring the front leg back, put your block between your inner thighs, narrow setting, and back we go to downward facing dog. Actively squeeze the block. It'll probably just stay there even if you don't, but do. Knees can be bent here. Remember, it's more important to have a nice long spine than straight legs. Hollow your belly toward your back. Ease the knees down to the ground. This time we're going to sit in hero's pose. Sit a different way if hero doesn't work for you. But if it does, it's probably sitting on a block with the heels, with the feet just outside of the hips rather than on the hips. We're going to use our belt here. So your belt is in a loop. And it's going just above the elbows. Okay, just above the elbows with the arms alongside the body. Yeah. And then we're going to take this basically shoulder stand hands. So the hands are either side of the sacrum, like so. Trying to show you, but also see you. Okay, so there should be tension in the belt, preventing the elbows from splaying out wide. So if there's no tension, see if you can just grab the tail and cinch it a little bit more. So there should feel like there's something happening. The belt is doing something. Okay, you might just stay right here. Or if you want a little bit more here, you're gonna lean forward. So you can kind of slide your hands up your back a little bit. And then keep them there as you sit up again. So fingers are pointing down, thumbs are out to the side. It's like a Sarvangasana setup. Chest is rising. If you want, you can add this chin seal, Jalandhara Bandha. So the chest stays up, the chin releases down, and slightly inward. If you don't have a belt at home, you can interlace your hands again. We already did that, but it's worth repeating. So hands are interlaced. There's a little bend in the elbows. Trying to lock out the elbows. Hands lifting, chest lifts, chin descends. Notice if the ribs are popping forward, draw the front ribs toward the back body. Breathe into your back. Breathe into your hands even. Like into your back, which then goes into your hands. Last couple of breaths here. And then slowly raise your head and release your hands from your back. You can tuck a thumb into the loop. You're going to slide the belt off and then just sit for a moment with your hands resting on your legs and notice. Okay, we're going to come into plank. So we're doing quite a bit of shoulder work today. Into upper push-up position. Take the time to place your hands, stretch back through your legs, dialing the hands outward without them actually moving. Push, push, push the floor away, and then just slightly soften between the shoulder blades. Buttocks are engaged, inner thighs are engaged, driving back through the heels. Draw the belly toward the back. The ribs can even draw toward the back a little bit, in and down. Head is in line with the rest of the spine, so you can lift the back skull up toward the ceiling, keeping the chin slightly tucked. Ease the knees down to the ground. Come down onto the forearms, elbows beneath the shoulders. Hands shoulder width apart. If you're dealing with shoulder stuff and it's better, you can clasp the hands instead. Push the elbows down. Push the inner wrist down if your hands are flat. So there's this lifting between the shoulder blades. Maybe that's enough work. Stay here and breathe, or stretch the legs back, forearm plank. Try not to have the hips up. So hips are in line with shoulders and feet. Glutes are active, legs are active. Bring the ribs in toward the midline, toward your back, toward your waist. Don't soften between the shoulder blades here, just all press away. Check that head is in line with the rest of the spine. Again, you can tuck the chin and lift the back skull a little bit toward the ceiling. So gaze is down. And then from here, you can go into down dog, or you can go on your belly to rest, or back into child's pose. Okay, let's come to all fours again. One more lunge. Left foot forward in our short lunge, our short stride lunge. Knee directly beneath the hip. Drag the front foot back. Engage your right glute. Be sure you're totally upright, and then we want to maintain that. So we're going to lift the back knee off the ground and maintain this neutral pelvis. So if you tipped forward in your pelvis, right? I'm going to try to bend the back knee. Let's all do that. Let's bend the back knee and just really reaffirm this neutral pelvis. It's a little easier with this shorter lunge. Okay, and then the knee can stay bent, or prioritizing this neutral pelvis, you can try to push the heel back and straighten or straighter the back leg. Keep dragging the front foot back, squeezing. I mean, it might feel like it's working, but also squeeze it. This right glute. And then maybe stretching the arms up alongside the ears. Keep the front ribs down. Arms can really reach up, everybody. Don't pull the shoulders down. Bring your hands down. And let's bring the back knee down, and we're just gonna switch to the second side. The right foot forward, left knee directly under the left hip, and then lift the back knee off the ground and come on up. Neutral pelvis. Bend the back knee if it isn't bent. So the frontal hip points are vertical with the pubic bone. And then try a little bit more straight with the back leg. Feeling that in the front of the left hip. Dragging the front foot back. Engaging, purposely engaging the left glute. Give it a little tap if it's reluctant. And then maybe stretching up through the arms. Front ribs stay down. We're just focusing a lot more lately on pelvic stability and hip to rib relationship by doing some of this stuff this way. Hands touch down, stepping back to plank. You can stay right here, or we're gonna just like break down upward dog slightly. So stay in your plank, or if you wanna go toward upward dog, maybe do it with me. It might feel a little bit different. So we're holding plank and untucking the toes, engaging the glutes. And then without dropping the hips at all yet, just imagine you could drag your hands back toward you. And then it's just a little lowering of the hips. So hands are dialing out, hands are dragging back. Keep lifting your chest, engaging your glutes a ton. Pushing the floor away. Then let's all tuck the toes and press back. Last down dog of our practice today. Try not to sink into the shoulders. Almost like somebody's got a hand on your back between the shoulder blades, and you're lightly pressing up into that hand. Okay, you can walk feet forward or walk hands back or combo move to come on up to standing. In mountain pose. Maybe close your eyes here. Feel from the inside what's present. Slow, steady breath. Let's grab the block. Place it between your inner thighs. Actively squeeze the block, even though you don't have to keep it there. Stretch your arms forward and really reach the arms forward. Feel the shoulder blades protract as you do. Let's just hold that action for a moment as we lower the hips into chair pose. Draw the front ribs back a little bit. Back skull is in line with sacrum. And then keep reaching through the arms and maybe bring the arms up alongside the ears. Still squeezing the block. From here, you can touch the ground. You can take the block out and make your way back to all fours. If you've got a bolster, grab the bolster, and we're going to use both blocks. If you don't have a bolster, you can use maybe a couple blankets. And we're going to have the blocks out in front. Maybe let's try high setting. You can lower it if it's too much. Okay, so we're lying on the belly with the ribs on the bolster, but not the pelvis. So we're already in this kind of weird prone back bendy shape. Let's tuck toes under. And then bring the hands to the block so arms are straight. You could be really active so the knees lift away from the ground. I think that's a good idea probably, especially if you've got a big bolster. So I'm propped up on the ribs. You could try coming forward a little bit on the bolster. See if that feels more supportive, less kind of like you're hanging in space. So heels of the hands are on the blocks. You could do this without a bolster. It'll be more like a locust. Engage your glutes. Okay, and then from here, we're gonna maybe take a Dhanurasana, a bow pose. So reaching back for your feet. The bolster is gonna give you a little help here. You shimmy up or down to feel the right support. Okay, so my thighs are down, my knees are down. Push the feet back into the hands to lift and broaden the chest. I feel like belly off is better for me here, but see what works for you. If it's too much, go back here for just a couple more breaths. Okay, and then gradually releasing your feet. Coming off of the bolster. If you're working with the bolster, just leave it there for supported bridge. If you don't have a bolster, lie on your back and have your block handy. So sacrum is supported, lower back is not. There's air below the lower back. Feet can stay planted. We did a lot of work to open the front body, so it might feel good here to straighten the legs with the heels on the ground. Keep the toes pointing up for the even stretch. So you can be totally relaxed here, or even though you're supported, you could still be active. Engaging your glutes will help to stabilize the back. And then the higher up you bring your arms, the more you're asking of your shoulders, you're opening the chest, and creating a little more space for the lungs. So we'll be here for a couple minutes. If there's any variations you feel called to, go for it. Breath is in the foreground of awareness. Breathe into the side body, breathe into the back, as well as the front. And staying here a little bit longer. We did a lot of engagement of the back body. So you might want to position yourself so you can let the lower back drape and drop even more. That might mean lower setting on your block or shifting your pelvis a little higher up the bolster. Or a little further away from the bolster is what I mean to say. You might feel called to stay here a bit longer, so if this feels like just what you need right now, then please stay for a bit longer. And whenever you're ready, coming into Shavasana. So if you've got a bolster, you can just lift your hips and scoot the bolster down. So your pelvis is on the ground and your thighs are supported. We're finding the way that your body will rest comfortably in Shavasana. Make sure you're warm. We worked hard in this practice, so now just resting. You didn't need to earn the rest, but now it's time to stop doing, stop manipulating, controlling, and just be. Coming back into the river of breath. Connecting to your body, and sacred vessel for your soul, for life's journey. If and when you are ready, you can gently rise up to a seat. Let's bow our heads with gratitude for all that our bodies can do. They carry us through this life. And for all of the blessings and abundance in our lives, may we find renewed gratitude. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, 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 peace. Thank you.